All right, 1 second here. All right, welcome everyone to this Q&A. Again, want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome everyone to this Q&A. I want to speak about something here. Torah says in this week's parsha about Sodom, about God knocking out Sodom. So the Torah says, chapter 18, verse 20. The Torah says that, so Hashem said, because the outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah has become very great, because their sin has been very grave. Verse 21, I will descend and see. They act in accordance with the outcry which has come to me, then destruction, if not, I will know. So here, what does the Torah tell me? God is going to descend and see what's going on. Right? So you see where this question is going to go in a second. It's not really a question, but really how to understand something very important, and that is like this. God says, let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on in Sodom. Now, you could tell me God has to come down. Why does he have to come down? Doesn't God already know what's going on? God knows. Essentially, God knows what's going on. Right? So if God knows what's going on, why is Torah saying, let's see what's going on? So the Rashi there says that it uses that language, God speaking to who? The heavenly court. Just like the Torah says, let us make man in our image. Right? Who's God talking to? Right? He's talking to the heavenly court. Does God need to speak to the heavenly court? No. God shows humility. Right? Absolute humility. So he doesn't need the heavenly court. Right? So if he doesn't need the heavenly court, if he doesn't need the heavenly court, so he's showing humility. Right? He's going to show humility. Now over here, but couldn't a person make a mistake? Right? What would be the mistake? Person would say, let us make God in our image. So seemingly there are other gods. Right? That's what it would sound like. Now Rashi over here in Genesis chapter 18 also says a similar thing. Let us see what's going on in Sodom. Right? I want to see what's going on in Sodom. So now, God doesn't know what's going on in Sodom. God knows what's going on in Sodom. Why is he talking to heavenly court? Again, Rashi and others will say, to show humility. Does God need the heavenly court to do what he wants? No. He's showing humility. Rashi says, though, a person can make a mistake. Person can make a serious mistake. What's a serious mistake? Person will say it's more than one God. But Rashi there says, okay, so a person will make a mistake. Does God want you to make a mistake? No. Could you make your own mistake, have a whole agenda around it? Yeah. You can do that. See it all the time. Right? Lies upon lies upon lies. Right? Very interesting. Let's think about, necessarily current events. But you see, Christianity, big lie. A lot of lies. Misinterpretations, mistranslations. They have an agenda. Other so-called religions have an agenda. Yeah. Now, does God want people to make mistakes? Does God want people to say there's more than one God? No. He doesn't want them to make mistakes. He doesn't want them to go down a slippery slope. So if he doesn't want them to go down on the slippery slope, so why did he put it out there? Someone could make a mistake. Because God essentially gave us what? He gave us free will. He gave us the ability to make good decisions, bad decisions. That's what he did. Could a person make the wrong decision? Yes. Is God interested that a person makes the wrong decision? No. That's what free will is. That's exactly what free will is. Now, a person, can go down that slippery slope. And a person can say, no. Looks like there's two gods here. Right? So in Astronism, it's good gods, bad gods. But a person can make a mistake. So we all have the ability to tap into the right way. We have the ability to tap in the wrong way. But it's very interesting. So you say everyone out there's got an agenda, which is true. Because they want to prove what they think is true and what is right based on their backwards way of thinking. Right? It's very interesting. There's been a lie been perpetuated very long time. Hundreds of years and more, or thousands of years, right? And that is that, it's coming more to the forefront now. But what's the lie? What's the major lie? The Jewish people don't have a connection to the land. So we could say, what do you mean? 2 weeks ago, we read Parshas Bereishis, read the beginning. We read the beginning of creation, right? The Torah says God created the heaven and the earth, right? Bereishis, bara Elokim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz. God created the heaven and the earth, very good. So the first Rashi there says, why start with creation? Why did the Torah not start with Exodus chapter 12? Exodus chapter 12 is the first mitzvah. What's the first mitzvah in the Torah? Rosh Chodesh, new month. Right? So why didn't the Torah start with that? Right, the Rashi says they say in the name of his father. They say because nature's going to come along and say, hey, you stole our land. Land belongs to us. And what are we going to answer? Bereishis bara Elokim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz. God created the heaven and the earth. If God created the heaven and the earth, God gives who he wants. If they really deserve it, they'll get it back. If they don't deserve it, God give it, God take it away. Yeah, so there's a claim. So you tell me, you don't care about that. They don't care what Rashi says over here. They don't care what the Bible says. They don't care what the Torah says. So if they don't care what the Torah says, how's that going to be an answer? I would say it's very simple. Do you think we stole the land? So come take it back. You can't take it back. We own it. First, a country conquers a land. You ever see that they gave it back? In general? Never happened. You had in the 70s. You had a population exchange between Pakistan and India. Okay? Over disputed land. The only time in history you ever see anything like that. But there's a claim, very false claim. There is a claim that we don't have a connection to the land. That there's no connection. That we're colonizers. They were colonizers. Now, what's one of the first things after the 6-Day War that the Israelis did? They felt bad. We took over the old city, right? Took over the old city of Jerusalem. So they gave the keys to the Temple Mount to the Muslim walks, anti-Semite as he was. So what have they been doing on the Temple Mount for years, right? They want Jews to come up there, say that they have a claim to the land, and Jews shouldn't go up there, right? Because we don't know where to step in the Holy of Holies, right? So the vast majority of all the Orthodox rabbis say Jews can't go up there, right? Not allowed to go up there, but okay. And if you be allowed to, it's definitely a provocation to them, right? We don't have to put it in their face and say we own it. They know that. But what are they busy doing? What have they been doing for years? Digging underneath the Temple Mount. What are they digging for? Gold? What are they digging for? They're trying to absolutely destroy any artifact that belongs to us. But we got 2,000 years of history, more, that go back to the Jews in the land of Israel. So you got to revisionist history where people don't know anything about history, or they want to rewrite it. That's what we call it, revisionism, right? They want to rewrite history and say we don't have a claim. We don't have a claim to the land. Yeah, is Jerusalem and the Holy Land mentioned in the Quran? In the top place of the Quran? The most sacred place? No. Christians will say, yeah, different things, whatever. But to make a claim, it's incredulous. It's incredulous how a lie can be perpetuated. And the fact that we don't have a claim to the land. King Solomon was there, King David was there, right? You're talking thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago, that show we're in the land. And they're busy trying to destroy all the artifacts. Trying to claim. We don't have a claim here. We're colonizers. No, the English are colonizers. The French were colonizers. We were here. No question. No question. Right? It's mind-boggling that the same lies can be totally perpetuated, can keep going on and on, especially what's going on now. Say they don't have a right to go in there. Even after what Hamas did and all that. Say we're colonized, we took it over. We don't want to be in there. No one's interested in being in there. They don't have a choice now. That land doesn't belong to us. Right? We don't have a claim to the land at all. Because they say from, whatever, Palestine to the sea, whatever it is. They don't want any Jews there. They don't want any Jews there. They don't have a claim. Where's their claim to the land? Not only that, where's their claim? We don't have a claim. There's so much evidence. Unbelievable amounts of evidence of the Jews being in the land of Israel. Right? So you can tell me, well, I forgot about history. Well, we don't have all the evidence. There are plenty of evidence. Plenty of evidence. You know what they say? You see what you want to see. But it's with everything going on, and to make that claim, we don't have any claim to the land at all. We're colonizers. And let's say 300, 400, 500 years ago, or 200 years ago, whatever, we bought the land legally, right? First Yishuv, right? In the land of Israel 100 years ago, it was bought up land legally. We don't have a claim. We got the deeds. First, they bought a house. You don't have a claim to this. This is my house. Hey, what do you mean? I got a document right here. I bought it. Well, what's your claim? How in the world can you have a claim? These people are the biggest liars in the world. Biggest liars in the world. You don't have a claim historically. You got to be out of your cotton picking head. But you know what? The lie sells. It's an unbelievable thing. It sells. People do not want to say we have a claim. And even by the Muslims, biggest liars in the world they are. Yeah. So they won't even let you go on the Temple Mount. Why? Even for them, it's, even for them, it's not the most important place, or, second or third or fifth or whatever it is. Yeah, that they're up there, but you go up there as a Jew, for them it's declaration of war. Because they'll do whatever it takes to keep that lie going. Yeah. So when it comes to religion, and you're going to fight against that, they'll die, every single one of them. They'll die for the sake of a lie. My Rabbi says many times. They're willing to die for a lie. He says, we have to be able to live for the truth, to do what God wants. They're willing to lay themselves down, these cockroaches. They're willing to die, every single one of them, based on a lie. And they're perpetuating that lie all over to say that we have no claim, that we're colonizers. And guess what? The propaganda works. Propaganda works, and everyone's eating it up. It's a mind-boggling thing. Mind-boggling thing. Revisionist history. It's like, the third biggest lie in the world. I'll say the first one's Christianity, second one's evolution. Maybe they're 1A, 1A. And 1B is going to be there's a Palestinian people. They don't exist. We mentioned this many times. They didn't exist at all. Imagine when the Turks were there more than 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Oh, you stole our land. You closed our places down. Our government. Send us to exile. Where's the evidence? They didn't say anything. Why didn't they say anything? Because there's nobody here. There were nomads here. You had people from Lebanon. You had people from Jordan, from other places. Okay, they're never an entity. Israelis made them into an entity. Right? For worse, we made them into an entity, something they never had. Never. I mean, for goodness sakes, you talk 1,000 years ago. Right? Or not even, I don't have to go back 1,000 years. We mentioned this before by Mark Twain. Samuel Langhorne's Clemens, if anyone doesn't know who he is, wrote Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, not such a religious person. Came to the land of Israel, the late 1880s. Late 1880s came to the land of Israel. You know what he saw? A flattened piece of concrete. That's what he saw. Whole place is flattened. We're all the Arabs. We're all Palestinians. With all their culture destroyed. Like the Mayans, like the Incas. Where's all their culture? Didn't exist. That's 100 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. It doesn't exist. And now, quote unquote, enlightened people claiming we don't have a claim to the land. We were never here. We have no artifacts. Nothing archaeological. You kidding? This is what the Torah says. Right? This is why I bring it up. Because the Torah says over here, this week's Parsha. Right? God says, let's see what's going on, and says, oh. Couldn't a person make a mistake and say it's more than one God? Person's going to make the mistake. Could for sure make the mistake. So why does God allow a person to make a mistake? Because we have free will. He wants us to have free will. And even if you have free will, you can make serious mistakes. True. Are we robots? No. God doesn't want robots. Got plenty of robots in the world. Right? He's got animals. Right? He's got plants. He's got other things. So he gave us the ability to make decisions, to reason. He breathed in the spirit of life, gave us what the Aramaic translation says, the Ruach Memalo, the ability to speak, to reason. Animals don't reason. Animals are programmed. They can decide to eat, not eat their programmed DNA. They can't go outside of who they are. They're programmed, right? Essentially. So he gave us the ability to make decisions. Okay, we can make good decisions, bad decisions. right? So, people come up with crazy ideas and perpetuate them and think it's like, the absolute truth because they don't want to see what the truth is. Nobody's interested in what the truth is. They see what they see. And now we're colonizers. Look what we're doing in Gaza. Yeah, we're trying to get these cockroaches out of Gaza. That's what we're trying to do, right? Trying to save the population there as well, besides the hostages. They're going to be able to do it in a nice, orderly way? No. Is the people going to get killed? God forbid, yes. But now you're going to, after everything that's said and done, now you're going to make them the underdog? You're going to say they're not terrorists anymore? A week! Public opinion was on the side of Israel for a week. A week. So how could so many people make a mistake? How could so many people make a mistake? And what's the answer? Everyone's got an agenda. Why is it that most Christians fall blindly? What are they afraid of? Why don't they question? Because they're afraid they're going to fry in hell forever. That's what they're afraid of. You don't believe in JC, you'll fry in hell forever. Scare tactics. But once they start to have questions, they're not going to get answers. And once they don't get answers, they'll say, you got to pray. Right? You got to leave your brain somewhere else. So therefore, what? They keep them stupid. They don't allow them to question, because if they have questions, there are no answers. And what do you do when you have no answers? They'll throw you out. They'll say you're a heretic. You can't question. Is he going to say so many people blind? Yes. Most of the world is blind. What, they really think they're worshiping cows? They really think this guy can turn himself into 3 different people? Immaculate conception? They're like, that makes sense? This perpetuated a lie. So how do people get out of it? If they really think and they really want truth. The Gemara says, God will help you if you want the truth. If you don't want the truth, God won't stop you. So you're going to say you got tens of millions of people ignorant don't want the truth, right? But how can they take fantasy? Fantasy sells. All this sells. It's a very easy sale. Right? And so we're meant as Christians believe that, yeah, Jews should just forgive them. Yeah. So I got an idea. The Muslims here, the Arabs here hate Christians. They despise Christians. Yeah, they make their life a misery whenever they can. Right? So they walk in, to a place with a whole bunch of Christians. Let's say they just maul and kill a whole bunch of them. Yeah, are they going to say the same thing? Oh, we got to turn the other cheek. We got to just forgive them because they're totally misguided. You slaughtered 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever it is. You look the other way. That's why no one's calling for a ceasefire. They don't want a ceasefire. They want to kill every single one of them for what they did. They're liable. They're guilty. There's no question. Question is, if you can really undo the whole thing, but that's not even the point. Spoke about that a few weeks ago. These people are idiots. There's nothing else to say. I want to bring up another point where, I mean, I see there are other questions. I'll deal with them, but this is a good point. This is a very good point, and I didn't even address it. I didn't even address it because there's nothing to say. I had a voicemail the other day, and I was very worried about it. Very good, but I had to get this off their chest. They said, I just want you to know. I mean, they're very much against Orthodox Jews. They hate, the right wing here. They hate the right wing in America. So basically the claim is, I just show you how insane a person who has an agenda is, when it goes haywire. So the claim is, who caused all this? They'll say, well, you got to get rid of Hamas. Okay. They went too far. Okay. They admit that. At least they admitted that. Okay. But Israel's never been weaker because they have a right-wing government. And because they have the ultra-Orthodox in the government, and basically because of all the protests, they don't want it to serve, and they got caught sleeping. Right? So it's all our fault. It's all the ultra-Orthodox Jews' fault. Now let's do a little bit fact-checking here. Who's in charge of the army? Orthodox Jews? No. Who are the generals? Who are the big guns, quote unquote, over here in the army? Are they religious Jews or secular Jews? They're secular Jews. Not all of them. They're all secular Jews. Yeah. What does that have to do? Who's in power? And what's going on? One thing has nothing to do with another. If you want to tell me ultra-Orthodox Jews were snoozing when this was all happening, I mean, it's what happened to one of the major generals. He was on vacation. They were doing exercises by the border. That's what he thought. He didn't think anything was going to happen. He's okay. He's going to be out of a job very soon. Right? No question. So the claim was, and this is just totally absurd. That's why I'm not going to answer it. I'll answer it here. It's totally absurd. You had all these protests going on against government, against the right-wing government that, when they wanted to do this, judicial reform. Right? So the whole world, Jews all over the world, saying like, down with this government, down with everything that it stands for. You got the religious, you got the right wing, you got the religious. But at the end of the day, nobody, I'm going to say nobody because it's nobody, they have no idea what this is doing. They have no idea what's going on. So it's the same person. I said, well, you're aware that, the Supreme Court sticks its nose where it doesn't belong. They perpetuate themselves. They have their own, they vote for the judges, keep the same judges and same, statutes, whatever in place. Cronyism, we would call it. Every time the Knesset makes the law, they strike it down if they want. They have jurisdiction where it doesn't belong. Everybody agrees. Even the left agrees. Nobody disagrees it's corrupt. There are no checks and balances. We don't have a constitution. Here's another problem, right? But there are no checks and balances. Now, if there are no checks and balances, what gives them the right to do what they want? Supreme Court can't stick its nose wherever it wants. That would be like anything Congress in the States in America did. And the Supreme Court said, let's say they had, 50 cases a year they look at. And 40 of them they struck down as being unconstitutional. How can a government function? Every law you make, they strike down. When they feel like it. For whatever reason, even though they have no jurisdiction. That's corruption. Can't have that. So now the government comes in and says, okay, we want to deal with it. We want to deal with it in a major way. So it could be. You tell me they went, they started too strong. Whatever it is. What do they think they're trying to do? You think they're going to, the left talks like you're going to make a theocracy. Like all of a sudden, women are going to have to wear burqas and going to shave their heads. That's what they think. They're afraid they're afraid of the right wing for sure, but they're afraid of ultra-Orthodox Jews. They don't want that power. They weren't allowed to go swimming on Shabbos. They'll shut down buses on Shabbos, which they should. Yeah. But what are they afraid of? They're afraid how far it's going to go. We're not interested in going very far. They want it stopped. They want the ultimate corruption stopped, period. Everybody agrees. But this was the form of the left being funded by Europe, by the way, in order to try and bring down the government. But they also agree. They don't disagree in principle. Question is how far you take it. Right? Somebody was here. I saw, a picture, them draped in an Israeli flag. One of these protests. Right? I mean, I'm not going to call them religious. They think they keep Shabbos or do a little bit or whatever. I'm not going to call them religious per se. Right? So I called him on and I said, I saw this picture of you with the protesters. That's democracy. I said, you're right, it's democracy. I said, do you know what's going on? Do you have any idea what's behind what's going on? It's democracy. That wasn't my question. See, I love when people just skirt the issue. Do you understand fundamentally what's going on? Yes or no? Just tell me yes or no. I said, the answer is no. The answer is no. Yeah, so the claim is, I mean, this is just crazy. The claim is, well, it's because of that. Then you had all these people saying, oh, if there's a war, we're not going to fight. Yeah, pilots saying that, and some reservists saying that. Where's the logic in that? Where's the law? I mean, you have to see what's going on behind the scenes. You got these leftists and a lot of money behind them being fed this garbage. Pilots not going to fight because we want to, rein in the power of the Supreme Court like it should be. Does that make logical sense? Doesn't make logical sense. I mean, I was thinking at the time anyway, it's like, oh, not really war, not worried about war per se, but yeah. Did anyone really do it? No, they talked a good game, but yeah, when you're under fire, you're gonna go fight. You're gonna forget all this. But the left has a total agenda, to put out these lies. Totally put out these lies and cause civil war in the country. That's what it did. Essentially what it did before this happened, before this war. Right? So what do I point out? Oh, so what did the person say? Israel's guard was down because of all the civil protests and all that. So this is why it happened. And it's because of Netanyahu, it's because of the right wing, it's because of ultra-Orthodox Jews, and I hate all of them. Is that logical? That's why I'm not even going to address it. Is it logical? No. It's I don't know, if I would be drunk and stoned, at the same time, maybe I'll come up with such an explanation. That's insanity. It's insanity. Right? And people are going to say, someone here pointed out, we're going to make peace. We're going to make peace. You got to be kidding. Right? We should forgive them. So I should go in a Christian town. People should go in a Christian town and just massacre, let's say 500 people in a really nasty way. Yeah, just massacre them. Their family's going to forgive us? No, they're going to say turn the other cheek? Oh, no. I don't think so. This is insanity. Person has an agenda. Okay. You hate ultra-Orthodox Jews. I get it. I don't know why, but I get it. You hate the right wing. I can understand that also. Okay. What does one thing have to do with another? You had left-wing people here. Thank God it never happened. You had Abel Barak wanted to give 95% or more of the West Bank to Arafat. And Arafat said no. You give away that kind of land, that's the heart of the country. Can't defend it. That's why they took it over. They kept getting attacked. 95% they didn't want. They want the whole thing. They want the whole thing. Is the left now really going to say, got to go back to the negotiating table? Who are you talking peace with? You think the quote-unquote Palestinians in Israel, they're any better? They're not any better. They think the same thing. Don't make any mistake. They're a little bit nicer. No. They're just as bad. They're all the same. You're going to say one's more ruthless than the other. They're all the same. They're all cockroaches. They're all the same. No difference. So, what's the left going to say now? We didn't help them enough? We didn't give them enough? You got some left-wing people that, did a lot to help people in Gaza. And they're being held captive right now. I think their attitude's really going to change if they come out alive. Yeah, God should protect them, protect everyone there. But for goodness sakes, what are they going to come out and say, even if they come out alive, let's say? Yeah, what are they going to say? I'd love to hear them say, we didn't do enough for them. This is really what caused it. And they couldn't stand occupation. So this happened and that happened, the other thing happened. We didn't go so far. Are you serious? This is dementia. It's worse than dementia. These people have no brains. They have no brains at all. You give them everything. What do they use it for? Bombs. Make tunnels. Right? What do they use it for? They're used for humanitarian things. Well been proven. Right? What's the point? Without getting into politics, and I said I wasn't going to get into politics. What's the point? The point is people can think whatever they want, have an agenda based on craziness. So how did that happen? How did this revisionist, this history happen? Because they have an agenda. They want to perpetuate the lie. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. They lie. And anyone who lives in Israel, they know. They know. They lie straight to your face. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this or that. They lie straight to your face. People say Chinese no different in that sense. They tell you something, they lie. And they have no problem doing it with a straight face. Okay, so you have different people that are able to do that. Okay. But you know what you're dealing with here. But, the whole world is sleeping here. The whole world is believing it. Because that's what the media is telling them. The media is telling them we have no claim to the land. I mean, some of the media trying to get the message out that we do. How can you say we have no claim to the land? And even if they say it, how can someone believe it? What's the answer? Do a little bit of research. No claim to the land at all. Come on, take out a Quran and read it. How much they claim. They know. They know what the truth is. But the lie sells. Right? Right? So Rashi said more than 1,000 years ago, if a person wants to make a mistake, they'll make a mistake. And does God want them to make the mistake? No. He's got no interest in making a mistake. But that's what we have, free will. We have the ability to make that mistake. We have the ability to go in the wrong direction. See, but when we choose the right thing and we go down the right path, right, that's what God wants. But the evil inclination will say, come on, everyone else is saying it. Everyone else is drinking the same Kool-Aid, so to speak. So why can't we? I had somebody tell me, as a secular Jew, I'll tell you how far ignorance goes. Now, I can't make this up. If you think I'm making it up, it's a true story. I heard it with my own ears. It was my conversation with somebody. Person says, I think there's a problem, in Israel. This is years ago because the Jews are in Israel. So I said, okay, do you agree? The English deserve to be in England. Yes. Albanians in Albania. Yeah. The Italians in Italy. Yes. The Jews in Israel. No. I said, okay, let's go back again. Let's try this again. The English have a right to be in England. Yes. Right? Czechoslovakians, well, it's not really a country anymore, but whatever. Czechoslovakians in Czechoslovakia. Yes. The Russians in Russia. Yes. The Jews in Israel. No. I said, okay. We're the ones causing all the problems here. I said, okay, let's say we're causing the problem. Right? Which I disagree. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that. So I asked this person straight up. I said, okay, if we're causing the problems, where should the Jews go? If we're causing the problems in Israel. He says the Jews, now again, I can't make this up. Person says the Jews should have stayed in Europe. That's what the person said. So I said, I'm just curious, do you know anything about recent history? They said, why? What do you mean? I said, the Jews were in Europe. A lot of Jews were in Europe. I said, they got slaughtered during the Holocaust. So, oh yeah, I forgot that. Forgot recent history. Forgot 6 million Jews got slaughtered in whatever, in Europe. That just sort of slipped your mind. How can a person forget such a thing? So again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. People want to rewrite history, and people want to say all these things is because of the Jews, right? It's because we're here. Yeah. The Arabs, they'll say, oh, it's all about the West Bank and they took this land and this and that. They hold most of the land where we live today outside the old city belongs to them. That's what they hold. It belongs to them. So if you're walking downtown Jerusalem, they're going to attack you. Not necessarily. I mean, they could, in theory, right? But not necessarily. But they could say, this land is ours. This belongs to us. That's what they believe. And they want this country free of Jews. Or they want the whole thing. Where's the claim? Where's the claim? They have it. And it belongs to them. But even if you don't want to talk about the biblical claim and all the historical claims, way back, isn't there a thing that might makes right in general? Didn't America slaughter all the Indians and call it manifest destiny? Right? Louisiana Purchase bought all this land from France. They got rid of the Spaniards, got rid of the Mexicans. I mean, in a nasty way. Right? Got rid of all the Indians. Anyone telling them to give land back? No. Anyone say they did anything wrong? No. Nobody's saying they did anything wrong. So they own the land. No one to give it back to. So what are they going to do? So even if you want to say, quote unquote, we're colonizers, let's say, I mean, very far-fetched, but let's say we are called colonizers. We have the land. We have the land, belongs to us. Even without any claims. Right? They don't have any claims to it, but let's say we took the land, we fought for it, it's ours. We annexed it, belongs to us. Oh, you think it belongs to you? Come get it. Come take it. Isn't that the way it works? You conquer land, whoever gives it back? Nobody. Nobody. That doesn't happen in history. You conquer the land, it's yours. There might be skirmishes, it belongs to us, it doesn't, they'll fight over it, this, that, but essentially whoever has it, has it. It has nothing to do with biblical claims, this claim, that claim. And we stole it and said, okay, so try and get it from us. Try and get it. It doesn't belong to you. Forget biblical claims. It's not colonization. I mean, it's see, the problem is if you know the truth and you've studied it and you've learned it, it's like incredulous people can even say this. That there's even a people, there's a land, and you get tens of thousands of people around the world saying death to the Jews. And they're the one causing it. Yeah? But to say we should, after all said and done, we should make peace. Oh, nobody would do that. You got to be insane to say that. That's a Christian idea. Turn the other cheek. Yeah. We should let all these people get slaughtered. Nothing should happen to them. And we should give them all kinds of money and, everything should be good. It's insane. It's an insane idea. Right? But what's the point, as the Torah says, and the commentaries tell us, people can make mistakes. People can make serious mistakes. God doesn't want that. God wants you to see the truth. Oh, but you have to have the eyes to see it. But someone could go in a whole rant and say it's the right wing and it's the ultra-Orthodox and, everyone else was sleeping. And because of the protests and because of this is why it happened. Is there one ultra-Orthodox Jew that's a general in the land of Israel today? No. No. They don't exist. All the higher-ups are all secular Jews, all of them. Maybe some a little more traditional, maybe. An ultra-Orthodox Jew is a general caught sleeping. One caused it. I mean, that's been much. That's why I'm not going to answer it, but I'll answer it here in this forum. That person always has an agenda. I get it, but that's like so far-fetched. why do I mention it? Because I want people to see how crack people are and what an agenda does. Now, does God give this person the right to make these fantasy comments and things? Sure. Could they see the truth? They could if they want. But God gives the ability to make a choice. They can make the right choice and make the wrong choice. But to make such statements and to say, like, you cause it, you're worse than Hamas, like, this is anti-Semitism from within. From within. Now, they obviously must have an agenda against Orthodox Jews. Whatever happens. Or maybe they got dropped on their head too many times as a child, maybe. This is insanity. This is just insanity. What people can think. And to think that, we may be causing everything going on here. Yeah, and we should have stayed in Europe. Well, we tried to do that. People forget there was a Holocaust. Yeah, I don't know how you forget that either. See, when you're a stickler for the truth, this really bothers you. It should bother you. Yeah, because people are making insane statements without knowing the facts. It's one of Kaufman's laws. You got to know the facts. If you don't know the facts, how can you talk? And that's exactly what I said. Talking about all these things about all these protests and this and that, they don't know the facts on the ground. They just say we have a right to protest, we're going to bring down this government, but you don't even have no idea what in the world is going on. And if you have a little more inside information, how this whole thing gets started, where the money from, and whatever, the whole point was to take down the government. That's the whole point. Is to make the government look really bad, which it did. Which it did in a major way. Yeah. But no one disagrees. It's a problem. It's just a question how you gonna deal with the problem. Yeah, there are a bunch of questions. Let me just deal with it. Somebody says, one thing is that unlike the IDF, right, God doesn't neither sleeps nor slumbers, right? God knows what's going on. God will take care of business. That is for sure. Someone asked before, though, when the Messiah comes, Prophet Elijah, Messiah ben Joseph, and Messiah ben David. Yeah, the purpose of Elijah the prophet is to go announce all over, right? To go all over and declare that this is the Messiah. Now there are two Messiahs, right? There's a Messiah. It's the Messiah of Joseph. There's a Messiah. There's a Messiah of David. There's a question whether the Messiah of Joseph, who helps the Messiah of David, right? Messiah of David's going to be some great general leader that everyone's going to agree, is cut above everybody else, right? In that sense. But, one thing to keep in mind, right, as well, is the fact that, we don't know over here, right? That the Messiah, basically the Messiah of David is not going to die, right? So we're not going to die in the war, right? But he's supposed to bring in the exiles, the Rambam says, and build the temple. Now, if he doesn't do that, right, that's criteria, right? That's major criteria for what he's supposed to do. He's also supposed to be a great leader, right? He's supposed to be a great leader as well, and that he's going to help the Messiah of David. Now, there's a question what he does, right? In other words, is he going to die or not? So that there's already different agreements in the Talmud and Sukkah that there's different agreement over there, right? Whether he's going to die or not. some hold, interesting enough, some hold, one second, that in the Laws of Kings, if you look at the Rambam, the Laws of Kings, chapters 11 and 12, it's interesting. The Messiah of Yosef, right? The Gemara does say it's going to be a Messiah of Yosef. Rambam seems to leave it out, right? So the question is, is he going to be there? He's not going to be there. Is he the same? Some want to say that that the claim is that the Sheikh ben Yosef and ben David, Messiah of David and Yosef, were the same person. I don't know too many people hold that. I mean, I know others that say not like that, right? That they're really going to be totally different people. But at the end of the day, what I do understand is that, again, Elijah's prophet's going to, now it's coming to the Messiah. That's one of his jobs. And the Messiah of Yosef helps, also is supposed to be a big leader as well, helps Messiah ben David, and could be killed, could not be killed, right? So again, difference of opinion. Does not necessarily mean that he, there's a whole question: will he die or not? Right? Is the question? But the Messiah of David will not. I mean, it might die eventually, but not in this war. It can't die in this war, right? That we understand from Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva thought Bar Kokhba or Bar Koziva, as he was known, was Mashiach ben David, and the fact that he died, the Rambam learns from there that Rabbi Akiva said he made a mistake. So from there, the Rambam says that at least, in that war, he can't die. Right? That he can't die. So others say, interesting, that he's going to be instrumental in uniting the 10 tribes, right? As well, getting 10 tribes back, right? United the Jews in exile, right? And leading the final war. That is what Mashiach ben Yosef will do as well. Some say, interesting, that the Mashiach ben Yosef will be resurrected immediately after the war by resurrection of the dead. Others say he's going to be dead, and Mashiach ben David will take over for that, which is kind of interesting. But again, a lot of these things very much, very much clouded in mystery, right? In other words, we have, bits and pieces here and there, about, about each one, and, different things. But, really, the Rambam in the Laws of Kings, I think it's in chapter 12, says that you don't want to over contemplate events, right? Prophecies are vague, right? Nobody knows what really the real depth of their meaning is. It could be contradictory verses as well. So, there are, there are people that want to say it's like this or like that, but it's like the Rambam says, the person should not try and figure out when the end of the day is going to be and all that, calculate when the Messiah is going to come, because if you calculate when the Messiah is going to come, you are going to potentially make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, what's going to happen? You'll think, oh, the Messiah is not going to come, and that's it, right? You'll think that, oh, Messiah is not going to come. You become a heretic, and there is no Messiah, and that's it. So got to be careful. Definitely, I have to be careful. But, there is good reason. There is good reason why it's clouded in such vagueness. Because let's say, for argument's sake, the Messiah was going to come, I don't know, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, something like that. They knew the precise time and this and that, right? And it was pretty clear what's going to happen. So people would only do certain mitzvahs. They won't do everything. They'll do what the most important things are, maybe how they're going to survive this, that. So the fact that we don't know. We have to believe, as we say in the Animami, the 13 principle, that we have to believe 100% that, yeah, God's going to bring the Messiah, even if he tarries, even if it takes a lot of time. Now, there are different times in history when, yeah, it was ripe for the Messiah to come, but it didn't come for, any number of reasons. Now, could this be the beginning of the end? Theory? Could. Will it be? Anyone's guess is, just as good as mine. It's hard to know. Right? It's hard to know. What's going to, what's going to be. So, yeah, someone mentioned as well, Christians that make a sound Syrian Christians being, crucified beheaded, right? A lot of people didn't say anything on the other massacres. Egypt, other places, no, all these other things that happened, no one said anything. It's pretty amazing. We're just trying to be humane over here, and we're getting slaughtered, no pun intended, by the media. So was Lebanon promised? I think Lebanon actually was. I'll double check that. I think that's part of Greater Israel, right? But I'll have to double check that. Let me just see something here. Yeah, yeah, so we definitely hold that that's what I thought, that that Lebanon, were part of the borders, right? But with Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 7, it says, you make way to the hill country, the Amorites, neighbors in the Arava, hilly country, the Shephelah, the Negev, which is down south, sea coast, land of Canaanites, and Lebanon, right? As far as the great river Euphrates, right? They're even talking in Egypt, right? So what are the borders promised? Yeah, you're gonna go to the wilderness of Lebanon from the river the Euphrates to the western sea, right? So that seems to say that Greater Israel eventually is going to be much bigger, right? It's going to be much bigger. I don't know if it goes exactly as far out to Iraq. I thought it did, but maybe not. You see it in Joshua also, chapter 13, right? It says that there was territory that remains in Canaan that he didn't get. It didn't capture. The phrase river is mentioned there as well. So Lebanon is part of the land. Yeah, is part of the land that is promised to Jewish people. I mean, I guess after all said and done, they flatten it like a pancake. I guess you can, build it up, build it up like no tomorrow. So that sounds good. Sounds sounds appetizing. Sounds appetizing in that sense. Very good. But that will be part of Greater Israel. So someone mentions that, said, nope, not true. That someone mentions that some are saying, it's never promised to Jewish people. I don't know. Look at the book of Deuteronomy, very beginning. That doesn't seem like that, right? It seems just the opposite. That'll be part of greater Israel, by the Euphrates, right? Where's by the Euphrates also. I don't know, is that including Egypt? Could be also. They got the border in Jordan. I think Jordan is part of Greater Israel also, part of it, Syria, as well. Someone here asks, everyone's going to hear when Mashiach comes. Yeah. Everybody's going to know. Going to be clear to everyone that he is the Messiah. It's very interesting. Everyone's going to know, and then they're going to try and figure out how to kill him, right? They don't want him around. But yeah, everyone's going to know. It's not going to be just a few people. Everyone's going to know. So I mentioned find it hilarious. Scholars, how Christians were flown out of Israel. Yeah, there's it's kind of ironic, I guess. In a certain way. I find I'll compare it to a sports analogy. It's probably not a good comparison, but if anyone's ever watched, let's say a team, I don't know if they're expected to win, not to win, whatever it is, and they have like the top players on the team, they give a press conference, right? They give a press conference afterwards. They lost, right? It doesn't matter. They lost by a lot, they lost by a little, whatever it is. Why are they smiling? I never thought about it. I don't know, maybe a few years ago, whatever. Maybe it dawned on me, but like it's kind of strange. You're being paid all this money. You lost. Yeah, again, I'm not talking about during the playoffs or the final game or whatever. I'm just saying in general, regular season game. Yeah, your team lost for whatever reason. They lost by a lot, they lost by a little. Why are people smiling if they lost? I'm not saying you got to be a sore loser. Right? I'm not saying that. Why do you have to smile? Why, okay, I don't care if you're making $10 million a year. What difference does it make? Your team lost. You shouldn't be smiling. You shouldn't think it's a good thing. Right? But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's a bad analogy, but it's a good point. You get these people being flown out, it's like, oh, you're right. Where's their faith? Where's their belief? So, yeah, we're so happy we're leaving. Yeah. Because you're afraid to be here. I get it. Why should you smile when you leave? Yeah, that's a good question. So I would use that as an analogy. I think it's stupid. I mean, you want to say, it's a good point. If a person really has true faith, why they're smiling over here? Good. Yeah. I'll tell you, there are a lot of questions about so many things. You just scratch your head and you say, like this can't be. Like someone didn't just say that. Someone didn't just, do whatever. Like you would think that there's certain things like we've never seen, and now all of a sudden, now we're seeing something like you scratch your head a little bit. And you're gonna say this lie is still being perpetuated. They're still giving over the same information. Okay, I understand they have an agenda. Very good. But this has been going on for a long time. So we're all fact checkers. Where are all the fact checkers? They're all being hidden. When people say this, it's on Facebook or it's on Twitter or whatever, where are the fact checkers? How do they let these lies be perpetuated? And the answer is God wants it out there to be out there. If people want to make all kinds of crazy statements, or say the same things and bring out the same things, God will let them. It doesn't stop them. If people really want the truth, they can find it. That's the point. If they want the truth, they'll really find it. It might be hard, might take a while, but if they're really searching, they'll get it. But it's, we live in this crazy world, in this crazy media world, that it's media driven, and everyone's got an agenda, so they're perpetuating the same thing. So some people get it. Some people actually get the message. Most people are just going to suck it up. They're just going to swallow it, no problem. They're not going to have any issues. Why? Why are they going to have any issues? Because they don't think. When I was growing up, someone made a statement, 1% think, 4% think they think, 95% rather die than think. Nobody wants to think. Thinking is too hard. Thinking is depressing. Thinking is this. People want fantasy. It's hard to believe, right? Very hard to imagine. But you see the fans of the fire being, just being waved over here. So I would ask, and I went to an Ivy League school. So I went to one of these top colleges. Very good. I mean, not so good, but we all know they're a bastion of liberalism. But if these people, like the next, doctors, lawyers, and the shakers and of the next generation, they're the movers and shakers of the next generation, and these people saying death to the Jews, and that all Jews deserve to die. And let's say a lot of these people have 80, 90, 100 more IQ. Well, what does that say? It says that intelligence doesn't breed morality. These are mobs. For goodness sakes, these are mobs. That's what they are. They're thugs. They're intellectual thugs. That's what I'm going to call them, right? In these universities, they're intellectual thugs. It's insanity, right? It's absolutely insanity. What does it show? Beyond the shadow of a doubt, intelligence does not breed morality, and it doesn't breed common sense. You can be extremely intelligent and be a dimwit when it comes to common sense, right? I don't care how intelligent you are. You want to say a whole people, which is racist, a whole people deserves to be snuffed out for what they're doing. Is that any different than what Hitler said? Then he brought it out, may rot wherever he is. That was his agenda. That's what he said in Mein Kampf. That was his agenda. 100% his agenda. So now people saying the same thing. Just interesting. You know, at the base of what he wrote, Mein Kampf was based on Martin Luther's 95 Theses. Martin Luther had the Protestant movement. Rabid anti-Semite. Rabid anti-Semite. They're going to say, 70 years later, 8 years later, you can still, people say the same thing. Saying these are not skinheads. You're talking about like the intellectual elites. I'm not saying it's necessarily so impressive, but this is how Germany started. This is who Hitler Yamach Shemoy V'Zichro got when he came to power. He didn't put guns to their heads. They joined willingly, knowing what his agenda was. The doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, the intelligentsia. They're the ones who joined. So you say, come on, these are kids, this, that. You got professors who will not admit these people are terrorists. It's like, no, you got to understand. Go back, what year are we talking about? Look what happened in 1948. Look at that. They're not willing to admit it. These people can be 10 times more intelligent than me. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But where are your brains over here? You're an anti-Semite. That's what you are. And you're claiming all Jews around the world deserve to die because of this. This is a good excuse for it. Well, that's what they really believe. Right? So what does it show? What does it show beyond the shadow of a doubt? We said intelligence does not breed morality. And when I spoke about the Holocaust, my conversion class, I said exactly that. I said exactly that. The first people that joined the Third Reich were the doctors and lawyers. They believed treating a dog was better than treating a Jew. That's what they believed. You're going to say Hitler was very charismatic. Okay, but that's what they believed. He didn't put a gun to their head. That's what they believed. Do you think all these Ivy League schools, they don't believe that? Of course they believe it. Coming out pretty clear all over. Yeah. So what does that tell you about, what does that tell you about intelligence today? Right? What does it tell you about education? And what it's breeding today? That's what it tells you. Does not breed morality at all. People can see, videos of these, kids in the hills. They had to be barred in until the police came. They were breaking on the doors. They beat them to a pulp if they could have. These people are thugs. They're intelligent thugs. That's what they are. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Intelligent thugs. That's what I'm going to call this video. They're intelligent thugs. Very intelligent thugs. That's what they are. Not skinheads. They're not rabble-rousing. That's to be rabble-rousing. Yeah. These are not stupid people. They're very well in their CTs. They're very good scholastically. Yeah. But how can they actually believe this is true? And that what we're doing is not mass genocide. So you say it's a whole agenda. It's taken over the country and this, what the media does. Yes, it's going on for a long time. Right? But everybody, I'm just pointing out, everybody knows that liberalism is being bred in these universities for sure. Right? That's nothing to talk about. Right? I don't know anyone's going to disagree with that. Then it leads to violence. Okay, it's one thing you want to believe what you want to believe. Okay. Why can't we agree to disagree? Oh, because you're committing apartheid. You're committing genocide. You deserve to be stamped out like a cockroach. That's what they're saying. Not stand. You deserve to die. Look what you're doing. What happened to intelligence? What happened to intelligence? And the answer is intelligence can only take you so far. Listen, Aristotle acted like an animal also. Right? But he said to them, not Aristotle. It's Aristotle, the animals, Aristotle, the intelligent ones, Aristotle, this, that. Very good. Intelligence can only take you so far. It does not make you more, So I mentioned the Americans brought those same Nazi doctors. Yeah, I understand. They kept them. Why? Because they wanted their intelligence. They didn't want the Russians to get them. Yeah, America's not guiltless by any stretch. They knew what they were doing, but they wanted all that intellectual information so it didn't go to the Russians. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. But somebody mentioned also a very good point. That is that if you're kind to cruel people, you'll be cruel to kind people. Yeah. Right. If you're cruel, if you're not cruel when you need to be, I mean, if you don't discipline when you need to be, you're called cruel. Not saying, you got to smack your kids around and this and that, but, you discipline, right? The King Solomon says, you spare the rod, you're a bad person. Right? But obviously not talking about corporal punishment here. But, discipline, if you don't discipline, you let kids do whatever they want, that's cruel. That's not called education. It's very true. So, yeah, we're living in scary time. It's just mind-boggling, in some ways, how the same thing is perpetuated is a total lie. Anyway, to get to the truth, you can find it, but it's very hard. It's very hard to actually get to the truth. Science is built of V1 rocket, yeah, all that, very true. Yeah, any other questions? So when they mention secular ways breeds ways of reasoning away morality, right? In other words, they have an agenda, right? They have an agenda. So what do? They use their, intellectuality to get around, certain things to prove to do what they want to do, right? Right? That's, obviously that's not what's supposed to be useful. There's no question. Someone asked an open Q&A. Yeah, I'm just happy to be talking about this, but my main point, just not talking about politics, was all about the fact that we have free will, and the whole point that we have, we have free will. We can make mistakes, right? That is exactly the point. You missed the first part of it, right? Where the Torah says that God says, let's go down to Sodom and see what's going on, right? So what? God doesn't know what's going on, right? So Rashi says, person can make a mistake. We have free will. Person can make a mistake. Does God want you to make a mistake? No. He doesn't want you to make a mistake. Right? But could we read the Torah and make some mistakes through it if you don't know what you're doing? You don't have proper guidance? Yeah. And then a person could have a, whole religion based on this agenda, which is bad, which is wrong. So I just, went 2-3 steps forward and said that, you get the biggest lies being perpetuated and a person can jump in and fall in. Right? That's how we get onto it. But yeah, it's not it's not the only topic. That's how we got there. Right? That's how we got there. So I always wonder how how one topic went to another. But yeah, that's how we got there for this topic. Yeah, any other questions? I just thought it was just actually interesting way to look at it, how so many people being brainwashed, and okay, God said you want to be brainwashed, you'll be brainwashed. Could I get out of being brainwashed? Yeah. 100% I could get out of being brainwashed if I want. A lot of people just take it in. They take everything as fact. They don't question it. And that's how people get out of Christianity. Exactly that, question. Right? That was really the point. Somebody asks, when's a good time for a man to go for circumcision? Oh, good question. I would tell you only to do it right before circumcision, right before conversion. In other words, basically says you're ready to convert, then they'll get you someone to do it, and and until it heals, it'll probably take a few days, a week, maybe to heal. Then after that, to do to go to the mikveh. But it would make sense not to do it before, right? Not why? Because if you do it before, then the circumcision is done. It's not really done for the sake of conversion, right? So then, if the foreskin's already taken off, then what do you do? What do you do for circumcision? You can't do it. There's nothing else to take off. So they draw blood. They do what they call hatafas dam bris. They draw blood, right? So in this case, you could do it before. You could do it before. I wouldn't recommend it because then you do it for the sake of circumcision, and then and then you go to the mikveh shortly thereafter, right? Otherwise, if it's done before, let's say a person had it done when they were a baby, whatever. If they had it done before, then again, there's nothing to do. All you can do is draw blood. That's what they'll do right before conversion, and right they'll draw a little bit of blood, and then the person go to the mikveh. So I would say it should be done right before conversion, right before conversion, and whatever rabbinical court you're going to go to, they'll obviously have someone for you to go, someone to go to, and they'll take care of it. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna stop here. This is every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Israel time. For this week, it'll be 10 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Israel time. Usually it'll be an hour later, but America hasn't changed the clocks yet, so it'll still be an hour earlier if anyone doesn't change the clocks. Otherwise, anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Chaim Kaufman. Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on Q&As, ethics of our fathers, Torah portion of the week, Book of Leviticus, controversial issues. You can send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com, which I'm